Welcome back, you resilient leaders, to our series, Holistic Leadership, Nurturing Your Well-Being to Service Your Community. And in our first video, we talked about invisible burdens that affect your mind and your spirit. Well, today we're grounding ourselves in the physical, and we're talking about your body. Now, your body is your temple. It is the physical way in which you powerfully serve your community. But too often, especially Black leaders, we push ourselves beyond our physical limits for the sake of our calling. And that just won't do. We can't survive doing that to ourselves. So this video is about recognizing your physical well-being isn't a luxury. It's about sustaining your legacy and creating a lasting impact in your community. And you can't do that if your body is broken down. As Black leaders, our physical health is intrinsically linked to our effectiveness and how well we lead our community. Yet we navigate in a world where health disparities historically negatively impact our communities. Prioritizing physical health isn't just a luxury or personal comfort. It's an act of resistance. It's an act of empowerment. And it's a powerful example for what others who follow you should do. This is about ensuring you have the energy, the longevity, and the resilience to fulfill your sacred purpose for generations to come. Now, this brings us to section 1, fueling your calling. Culturally conscious nutrition for energy and focus. Now let's talk about food. For many of us, food is a source of comfort, celebration, and tradition, but it's also your primary fuel source for the relentless demands on your leadership. But often in our busy schedules, we grab something quick, and usually that sacrifices our sustained energy for momentum or satisfaction. But what if we were able to eat in a way that our energy was sustained throughout the day, keeping us focused, giving us clarity, and the energy we need? Culturally conscious nutrition isn't about deprivation. It's about making smart choices that honor your heritage. So I've been vegan going on 9 years. It'll be 9 years. I think it's the 17th of June. And the amount of energy that I have and the amount of clarity and focus from going from eating, meat and dairy to just eating plant-based has changed everything. So it's a focus. It allows me to do more with less time and with more clarity. So make choices based on what's healthier, because that's going to allow you to fulfill your sacred purpose. I remember when I went in for my checkup, I was kind of on the high end of blood pressure. My blood pressure was a little bit high. My cholesterol levels were a bit high. And I remember my doctor saying, you're fine with what you're doing. But I just decided to switch and become a vegan. And those numbers went way down. And I remember him asking me, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm now eating plant-based. And he said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And that was obviously 9 years ago. But I'm not saying that you need to become a vegan like myself. But what I am saying is make smart choices. Prepare a little bit more for your day. If you're going to be away from a place for you to be able to have a nice meal that you brought from home, make sure you pack a lunch. Bring a healthy lunch with you so you don't just grab what's available out there, because usually that's high cholesterol, high salt, all sorts of things. So prepare a little bit. And when we're talking about culturally conscious meals, we're talking about traditional meals that we just add a healthy twist to. So instead of using regular oil, you might want to use avocado oil. Instead of using salt, you might want to use a little bit of lemon. Just different things that you can try that keeps your meals a bit healthier. Have a salad instead of fries. I mean, the drop off in flavor really isn't that much. Also, I would encourage you to get your checkups, at least annually. I'm kind of a person that likes to stay ahead of stuff. So I actually go in every 6 months. I go in on my birthday, which is July 11th, and I go in at the first of the year. So make sure you're getting your checkups. So my favorite traditional meals that I like to make at home are I like to make greens. What I do is I add kale to my greens, I add spinach to my greens, and collard greens to my greens. I also like sweet potatoes. So instead of making, the insulin spiking sweet potatoes, I just put a regular sweet potato in the oven, wrap it in foil, and bake it. It's already sweet. Why do I need to add, sugar and all sorts of things to it? It's already sweet. So it's just making more conscious decisions. I love to make red beans and rice, and it's super healthy for you, and it's satisfying, and it has a lot of protein in it. So just think a little more traditional and conscious about what you're eating. And this brings us to our first quick quiz. And it's true or false. True or false, culturally conscious nutrition means giving up all traditional foods. Leave your answers in the comments below. And here's an actionable takeaway I'd like you to do this week. Identify at least one culturally conscious meal prep idea. And maybe it's red beans, where you put some red beans in Instapot, cook them up, and have them at just about every meal throughout the week. It's a simple thing to do. It's real easy. You put them in, you walk away. It's done in 15 or 20 minutes. Also, maybe you just bring a bottle of water that you carry with you and refill it throughout the day, because hydration is key. But just pick one thing that I want you to do this week and just do it, and leave your answer in the comments below on what it is you will be picking to do for the week. Now, this brings us to section 2, movement for ministry, access to physical activity and stress relief. In our communities, leadership often means movement, from the pulpit to community meetings to advocacy rallies to home visits even. But how much of that movement is truly for you? Physical activity isn't just about fitness. It's a powerful antidote to stress. It's a release for the racial battle fatigue that we often carry. And it's vital for mental clarity. Finding time for movement can feel impossible, but it's important that you take time to find ways to get your body in motion. It can be short 5-minute bursts, stretches, taking the stairs, walking instead of getting on the bus or driving. These are activities that we can all do. Now, for me, I take physical activity quite seriously. I'm up every morning at 3:30. I'm at the door at 4:45. I'm at the gym at 5, and I'm back at home at 8. I take it very seriously. But I'm not saying you need to do that. But what I am saying, you definitely need to find intentional times throughout the day where you actively move, stretch, and be still. Now, the 3 things that I like to do is I like to do strength training. So that's resistance training. I also like to do cardio. I don't do as much as I should, and I'm going to be increasing that actually this week. But I do cardio. I do loads of stretching. I'm going to be 61 years old this year, and stretching keeps me healthy. And I also do yoga, where I have to hold isometric positions and stretching at the same time. And I like to walk. I walk at least 2 times a week, about 3 to 6 miles per week. I'm not saying you need to be this extreme, if that's what you want to call it, but you do need to be intentional with your movement and take it serious. And as I mentioned in the other video, consider walking in nature. Again, the Japanese call it forest bathing, and it just does wonders for you mentally as well as physically, because you're out and you're moving intentionally. And then also maybe explore some fitness options in your community. You can kill two birds with one stone. You can work out with a group. You can walk with a group of congregants once a week. Look for opportunities to be physical and show others that you're being physically fit. The goal is not perfection, it's consistency and finding joy in the movement that you choose. So sometimes I will take a day off. And I take a day off because this is not a trend for me. This is a lifestyle. So it's okay for me to take a day off because I know I'm going to be back there tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. So make this a life choice, not a trend. You're not on a diet. This is the way you're going to be moving for the rest of your life. So let's do this, because this is about moving the accumulated stress out of your body through movement and allowing space for renewal and spiritual growth. So get moving. So this brings us to our quick quiz number 2. And this one's kind of funny because I sort of do what the answer is not supposed to do. But anyway, you'll get what I mean. Which one is not an accessible way to incorporate movement into a busy leader's day? A walking meeting. B, 5-minute stretch breaks. C, a full 2-hour gym session every day. That's me. And a community-based fitness group. Leave your answers in the comments below. Now this brings us to section 3, the sacred pause, prioritizing rest, sleep, and boundaries for longevity. Now let's talk about something many leaders find incredibly challenging, especially Black leaders, and that's rest. And we often wear our exhaustion as a badge of honor, believing constant sacrifice is the way to serve. But true rest, deep restorative sleep, and intentional breaks, it's not laziness. It's a profound act of self-discipline and spiritual love. Self-love, essential for your continued service and longevity. Restorative sleep is critical for mental clarity, emotional regulation, and overall resilience to the constant pressure leaders are under, especially Black leaders. We must actively improve our sleep hygiene, creating a calming bedtime routine, making sure our sleeping space is truly for sleeping. I even have a watch that tracks my sleep. I don't know how accurate it is, but it seems to be pretty accurate. And it lets me know if I'm in REM, if I'm in deep, or if I'm in light sleeping. And I track that. I want to make sure that I'm getting quality sleep, not just closing my eyes. And beyond sleep, we need to reinforce boundaries beyond our working hours. When we are working, say, from 9 to 6 or whatever, we must eliminate calls after 6 o'clock unless it's an emergency. We must set boundaries, even from well-meaning community members, congregants, and otherwise. We have to prioritize our rest through boundaries. And I know it can be or feel impossible to say no to the request that you receive. But you have to understand that saying no now is increasing your longevity in the future. You have to take time to recharge your batteries. This does you no good to be exhausted and run down and then burn out in the future. You have to rest. And you have to protect your boundaries around your sleep and your rest. Setting clear boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of leadership that sets a model for those who serve. Now, this brings us to our quick quiz number 3, and it's a fill in the blanks. For Black leaders, prioritizing rest is not lazy, but a blank, and an act of self-love. Leave your answers in the comments below. So here's an action step for you around rest. For this week, I would like you to come up with one strategy that you would like to improve your rest. Maybe it's going to bed at a consistent time every day for the week, or maybe it's getting blackout curtains so that it's not light in your room, or maybe it's leaving your phone in another room before you go to sleep. Maybe it's drafting a boundary statement for outside your regular hours. Whatever it is, let's do it this week. Let's start protecting our rest. And write in the comments below on what you've chosen to do to protect your rest. And now we've reached our final section, which is the closing and the call to action. Prioritizing your physical well-being through conscious nutrition, accessible movement, and sacred rest isn't about being perfect. It's about being whole. When you honor your body, you empower your mind and spirit to continue to lead with vitality, wisdom, and sustained leadership for years and generations to come. And this is how we break the cycle of burnout and build a legacy of health for generations to follow. So your challenge of the week is not an additional challenge. It is a combination of the ones that I gave you earlier. So pick one from intentional movement. What are you going to do to increase your physical movement? Also pick one from conscious, culturally accessible nutrition. What are you going to do to make your meals healthier? And then the last, and probably one of the most important, is sacred rest. How are you going to improve your sleep hygiene and your rest hygiene? Leave your answers in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're going to do this. And just remember, you don't have to be as extreme as I am, as people would call it, but I actually enjoy it. I enjoy being vegan. I enjoy spending 3 hours in the gym every day. I enjoy doing yoga. I enjoy walking. And so these things bring me joy, but you don't have to be that extreme, but you need to be moving in that direction, however. And I want to thank you for joining me on this video journey once again, the second of 3 videos on health and well-being. I hope it helped you. And if you liked it, please like and subscribe to our channel. And most importantly, as I always say in almost all of my other videos, please share this video with someone you know that it could help, or that they may be able to share with someone else. I feel like the more information we have, the more we do better, and the more we all do better, the more the community does better. So please share this video. So until next time, you might want to take a look at some of these videos. And remember, keep taking care of your body as a temple, because without it, you don't have anything. So remember, take care of your nutrition, take care of your movement, and take care of your rest. Together we rise, together we thrive. I'll see you at the next video.